The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. We're talking to Ian from the Dooralong Transformation Centre this morning. We talked briefly to Ian before the 10 o'clock news. Now he's back for a bit of an in-depth talk with us. So, Ian, it was drugs for you, I think, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. When did they come into your life?
About the age of 12.
That's very young, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that sort of experimenting at school or mates and things like that?
Outside of school with some mates.
Yeah, yeah. And was it under control, did you think, at that time, or were you addicted very, very quickly?
I was addicted very quickly.
Yeah. And what sort of effect did that have on your school and family life?
A massive effect. Every job I ever had, I've lost.
Yeah.
And my life slipped away pretty fast. It was a very progressive illness.
Yeah.
The more I used, the more I guess I felt a superior than inferior. The more I felt as though I could do more things.
Yeah, it gave you confidence which really wasn't well founded, sort of thing.
Yeah, it gave me a false hope.
False hope, yeah. Were you able to complete school if you started that? No. So it impacted on your education?
Yes.
So that in turn would impact on your jobs and that type of thing?
Yes.
Yeah. And what about family? Did it sort of have a negative impact with your home life?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Sort of, did mum and dad notice?
Over a period of time they did. I found it really hard to stay put, I guess, for me. I was all over the place. I'd move around and very unstable.
Yeah. So you're one of those kids that was, well, mum and dad would never know where Ian was. He was around somewhere, he's up to something, but we just don't know.
I remember my mum saying that she'd worry at night and she'd cry herself to sleep and she'd always be worrying my mum and dad where I was, whether I was safe.
Yeah. Because were they drug addicts or alcohol addicts? Or no. So this was a situation that they just had no experience of.
Yeah. My mum and dad have been married nearly 54 years and they're still together, and they've shown me nothing but God's grace, unconditional love.
Yeah.
Beautiful people. And
I suppose the new Ian looks back on that with sort of feelings of guilt and remorse, but it happened.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So you started at the age of 12. Whether you say it was drugs, was it sort of soft drugs at that stage? Was it cannabis?
Yes, for me it was started off with marijuana, and I tried different types of pills, and it was mushrooms and trips and stuff, and I think it just progressed. I found speed, and then I went to ice, and it was, I guess for me it was my whole perception of the world changed, and how I treated people in it, and through my brokenness as a child, I sort of found that drug, and I really felt superior. I didn't feel fear anymore. There wasn't much I couldn't do. And
which drug are you talking about now?
Speed and ice.
Speed and ice, yeah. But it made you feel superior to everybody else.
Yeah.
And is that the motivation for taking it?
I think for me it was. It was that drive where I felt empowered.
Yeah. And you sound as if you have enough, at least now, enough self-awareness to know that during that period you were not treating people well. No.
Or myself.
Or yourself. Yeah. So what sort of bad situations did you find yourself in? People say drugs and alcohol sort of ruin their life, but what did that ruined life look like for Ian?
For me, was disconnected from everyone who I loved, that loved me and I loved them. Found myself in the streets, broken, in prison many times.
Yeah.
I think it's sitting in that place of despair, lost within myself, within the world.
So you were living on the streets for some time, homeless?
Yeah, on and off for a lot of years.
Yeah. And then it led you to, it led into the sort of criminality and then ending up in prison, and robbed you of all your hope and dreams for the future.
Yep.
Yeah. Despair.
And the significant ones that I truly love, that love me as well, it's the selfishness of the disease. I only cared about myself, and all those responsibilities, I was so irresponsible.
Yeah, we've talked to other people here on Wednesday mornings, and they have said things which sort of, I think they feel guilt about, but they say that when they're in addiction, particularly with ice, that they would rob off their mother, they would step over anybody just to get that next fix. And that was the case for you, was it?
In my younger days, I'd done a bit of Sterling, but as I matured and got older, I had that more respect, and I found it really hard to take off other people that wasn't mine. And,
yeah. So you were sort of conflicted. You knew it was wrong and it wasn't really the real Ian, but at the same time you needed this drug. So not a very happy life that you're painting there, Ian.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Did you take any steps to sort of get out of this situation? Did you? I know you're at Dooralong at the moment, but before you went to Dooralong, had you taken any? Have you gone to previous rehabs or detoxes?
I think through the court system, because of my behaviour and I think getting in trouble with the police, I was ordered to go do programs, and I went to Larry Lodge out at Wall's End many a times, and Belmont Detox, and I tried many times within myself, and I just didn't have the strength within myself. And that.
So you weren't just ticking a box, you weren't just there because the courts had said you've got to be there, you genuinely wanted to sort of break that habit.
Yeah, I had enough. And,
you'd had enough, yeah.
And I guess I was told by the Department of Community Services about my children, and because I was so responsible for them beautiful children that I was brought into this world, freely given, that if I didn't do something about it, they were going to take my children to state award. So I got to that place where I went to a couples rehab with my wife, and we started that process, and went to that rehab, and it was over a long time ago. And,
so was that a turning point, the realisation that you could lose contact with your children?
It was.
Yeah.
It really was.
Bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah, it truly was.
Yeah. And when did you discover Dooralong? I know when you went there, it was 9 months ago, but when did you find out about it?
Well, years ago, I was on the streets in Newcastle, and I found out about Miracle Haven at Morisset, and so I went and spoke to a guy, and I got into there, and I spent, it was probably a year there, and I had 7 years of good quality life, and
free of addiction.
My family back in my life, and for me it was about, I can see it, and I have me 5 F's as faith, forgiveness, freedom, fellowship and family, and I disconnected myself from everyone that loved me again, and went back to that isolation, and it was over a period of time I picked up, but I can say this time round it's been a massive change within me. I've worked more within myself, and I've looked at my behaviours, and I can truly say that I've been freed. I truly have.
And making a difference in the life of Ian is the Dooralong Transformation Centre. No, perhaps we should give the credit to God, but he's acting through the Dooralong Transformation Centre. So you went to Dooralong 9 months ago, Ian?
Yes.
Yeah. You have been to Miracle Haven, you've been to some other detox programs. Is Dooralong like those, or are there similarities or differences?
I found that Salvation Army are really beautiful people, and they really give me a chance to find myself, and I was really happy to go into the Bridge program.
Yeah.
That was the program for me. Yeah.
So you've been there 9 months. So yeah, perhaps a month or so longer to go. You talk very freely, especially off the air, about your relationship with Christ. Is that something you would have been doing 9 months ago, talking about Christ in your life?
No, not openly, no.
Not openly.
No.
So it's certainly deepened your awareness of Christ and made it very real for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about that journey then, because there you go. You go into Dooralong 9 months ago. You're just out of detox, I imagine. You're going to the Salvos, a sort of a Christian-based organisation. How did Christianity become so important for you?
I think, truly can say I've got a lot of great Salvation Army friends in my life, and they've really shown me God's grace, that peace, and I've always heard this this soft, nurturing voice that keeps telling me to do certain things and trying to give me that push in the right direction. I've never really listened to it, and I guess more that my mind slowed down and just peaceful within myself. I've been able to be obedient to that voice, and I'm starting to, he's starting to direct me in the right direction, and he keeps saying to me, come, it's okay, walk with me. He wants me to be like him. And,
did you hear that voice before you went to Dooralong, even during those dark days of addiction? Were you being spoken to in that way?
Different times I was.
But you were pushing it away or ignoring it?
Yeah.
But since you've been at Dooralong, you've actually started listening to it?
Yeah, more obedient,
Yeah. So you go to the chapel nights?
Yeah, I love chapel nights. It's really good. I love the energy, the good, great energy.
Yeah.
Really good. Love it.
Yeah. We came out to your worship night about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was tremendous energy there. A lot of passion in that room.
I can really see, being there the amount of time in the program, and you see the progression in people's lives, the transformation in people, the massive change in people, and you can just see them, they've got life again. They have this beautiful glow about them. And it's a massive change. It's a beautiful thing to be able to see that.
You've been there 9 months, so you've probably sort of looked at some guys who've come in with different sort of issues. Some who are perhaps like yourself, sort of very open and embrace this whole idea of Christianity, and others that perhaps been a little bit resistant to it. And some who are probably still resistant to it.
Yes.
Have you noticed any difference in the way that the program works for those people who are open to the idea of Christianity and those who sort of shut it down and just don't want to know anything about it?
They really, the ones that do have this just really glow. They have this really peace within them and really free, and the ones that don't, they still have that bitterness about them.
Yeah, so something inside of them. Yeah. And you talk about that peace. Is that something you experience now for yourself? Yeah. And when you look back at your old life, how do you view that? When you look back at the old Ian, how do you feel about that?
Very immature, very, the word would be irresponsible. Just really irresponsible.
Yeah. The hard part, I suppose, and we were talking about this a little bit, the hard part, of course, is that, okay, we know that if we've accepted Christ and asked for his forgiveness, we've got it, but sometimes it's hard to forgive ourselves. Is that something you've had to work at? Yeah,
well, I really had to look at it, have a holistic view of my life, and really have a look at it and see it for what it was, to be able to change that stuff. And they talk about a step 4 in the program, that a fearless and moral inventory of my life, and I think having a look at that stuff and I know what's right and wrong.
Yes.
And knowing my stuff and being accountable for my actions and my behaviours, and look at how I've hurt myself and hurt other people, and ask for that forgiveness.
And then, asking for forgiveness, but also accepting that you are forgiven and not replaying all those things that happened in your life previously, because that can be a destructive thought pattern, can't it?
Yeah.
So they talk about freedom in Christ. You found that freedom. You are forgiven. This is a new Ian, and each day is a new gift from God.
Under the eye of my beholder, I do what's right, and I challenge that thought process, and my actions are just and right. It gives me freedom.
Yeah, excellent. We're going to break for some more music, and then we're going to come back, and Ian's going to he's already shared with me. You will be surprised and really encouraged when he tells you what he hopes is going to happen next in his life. So, wonder what that. We are talking to Ian from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. He was sharing with us about his time at Dooralong and the major difference it's made in his life. This is a segment on Wednesdays. There's this third little chat. We usually talk about what people's hopes and dreams are for the future. And I know that Ian's got some pretty definite sort of plans for the future, God willing, of course. But he was also telling me off air of he's been reading about William Booth and Catherine Booth, and he studies the doctrines of the Salvation Army. So this is a serious commitment of faith that you've made. It's not just sort of, here today, gone tomorrow, is it?
No.
No. You are committed to this.
Yes.
And you tell me that you read the doctrines and you read about the life story of William Booth and this. It means a lot to you, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Okay, so looking to the future, what are your hopes and dreams?
Being a soldier of the Salvation Army and reaching out to others.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you come into the Salvation Army and get nurtured and sort of counselled and healed by the Salvation, or healed by God through the Salvation Army, but you want to pass that blessing on to others.
Yes.
Yeah, and the first step is becoming a soldier in the Salvation Army.
Yes.
So what does that involve?
I've got to do a course. I'm doing a course at the moment called Equipped.
Yeah.
And another course starts up soon. I'll be doing that, and it's just to get me ready to what's in detail to be a soldier.
Yeah. So there's quite a bit of studying. Do you do that studying at the churches, or is there somebody on site at the Dooralong that can help you with that study?
It's going to be out of Dooralong. I leave actually next week.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
And I'm connected with Belmont Salvation Army. It's a beautiful church, my home church.
Yeah.
So after the course is finished, I'll be signing up to do soldiership.
You'll be a soldier, and you've got a particular heart for what ministry of the Salvation?
Street beat, helping people, the homeless.
Yeah.
Just showing them a better way to walk life and a better quality of life, living life.
Because, as you were telling us earlier, for part of your life, you were living on the streets.
Yes.
So you want to come alongside them as a soldier of the army and sort of minister to those people.
Yes. And
show them the love of God that's been shown to you.
Yep.
That's terrific. I know you're a very modest person, Ian, but that's terrific. You should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you, I am.
Good. What about the relationship with those that you love? Because you talked a couple of times about when you were in your addiction, you went through that destructive pattern of pushing those. Well, you said you disassociated yourself from those people that you love. Have you been able to build bridges in those areas?
Yes.
Yeah. So those people that you love are in your life again?
Yes.
Gee, when they call it the Dooralong Transformation Centre, they really mean it. It does exactly what it says, doesn't it? Yeah.
Transform people, inspiring transformation.
By inspiring, yeah. And you say you're leaving Dooralong next week?
Yes.
Yeah. So have they helped you find accommodation and things like that?
There's a guy I know that's in recovery. You live in you live in a good quality of life. And, he's a follower of Christ, and he's allowing me to rent a room. So it's,
that's good.
It's just one step out the door, and I have work, and things are looking great.
And it's near your church, the Belmont sort of Salvation.
No, it's down the Central Coast. It's Gorican I'm moving to.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful place.
Yeah. But your home church will continue to be
Belmont. Yep.
Belmont will continue to be your church.
Yes. My church.
Yeah. Whilst you study to be a soldier of the army.
Yes.
I'm blown away by that, Ian. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So, thanks to the Salvos. And thanks to God who works miracles in people's lives. We've said it before that lots of people these days that they talk about God not performing miracles in this age, but for somebody who had been in addiction for so long as you had, who had done those things, and we needn't go over them again, but done those things that you did with that criminality and all the rest of it, and now you're going to be a soldier of the army and hopefully bring God's love and hope to people living on the streets.
Yes.
Amazing. Thanks so much for coming in today. Ian's our first guest who had to drive himself here. So I think the chauffeur at Dooralong must have had a bit of a lie in this morning. Ian's driven himself here and he's done a fantastic job, and it's such an inspiring story. Hey, Ian, we wouldn't mind you coming back in, say, 6 months' time and just sort of updating us on those plans that you have of becoming a soldier and then sort of giving back to the community. So, please stay in touch with us. We would love that.
I will. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong Stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 rema.cc.